Good morning, everyone. So I'm back and I'm continuing my series on tarot grounding plan. So I have that up as a hashtag if you want to follow along. I'll put it all in a playlist. But basically, long story short, October has been a rough month for multiple reasons. And me and my therapist actually decided on doing sort of a grounding plan for me to prevent me from relapsing into anxiety driven and OCD driven behaviors. So it's just a way of helping me manage certain areas in my life, or actually helping me be aware of certain areas in my life that I need to manage. So I chose about 9 areas, and this is very personal to me. I think some areas are kind of universal as far as affecting mental health, but the rest is very personal to me. And I went through 3 areas in yesterday's video, and I'm going to go through 3 more in today's video. So I will link the introduction video to this practice. It's a way of using tarot. Well, it's a different way of using tarot, and it's how I sort of link my therapy homework to tarot, and that really sort of helps me ground. So this is the life card from the Burning Tiger Tarot. Look at those beautiful backs. I will also link the creator's Instagram um, below in the description, because you can only order it through direct messaging him. But this is an extra card in the Burning Tiger Tarot called the Life card, and you'll see love, pain, hate, pleasure, life, death around it. And I picked it as a significator for this whole exercise just because life has been lifing. So, the 3 areas that I want to talk about today, that I would like to nurture and understand more so that I can nurture those areas more, would be the area of medication, socialization, and alone time. Yesterday's video, I went through sleep, nutrition, and movement. Now, I will be sharing some pretty private stuff to me, I guess. And if you ever want to do a VR to this, there's no need for that. You have to do what you feel comfortable doing. Also, if you ever just want to use this kind of practice in private, that's also great. I just hope it can be of help to someone the way it has been of help to me. So, what I did when I picked out those 9 areas, I knew what they were, right? I knew that there was going to be nutrition, I knew there was going to be medication in there. And I went through the entire Burning Tiger Tarot deck, and I just picked visuals that spoke to me about those areas. So it's not necessarily linked to the meaning of the tarot card, but I would choose 1 card per area. So I picked out 9 cards. And then what I'm doing now is I am pulling tarot how I normally do, which is shuffling it and pulling at random to expound further on those significator cards for the 9 areas. So with that, let's do the first area for today. This is the medication area. And underneath it, or I guess for it, I've picked the 6 of Cups. Now, let me talk about this a little bit. I have been pretty open about my mental health struggles and how I am on medication. I have been on antidepressants for about 5 years now, not just for depression, but actually to help with my OCD and my anxiety. So, why did I choose the 6 of Cups? I'm not linking it to the meaning for now, just looking at the visual. Honestly, this felt like such a peaceful moment, and I'll bring the card up a bit. This felt like such a peaceful moment, like being in a lake with all these cups. And these did remind me of like taking my medication. I always have it with a glass of water. So it just kind of reminded me of that. But also, this is the feeling, the vibe that I get when I am continuously taking my medication. I feel really at peace. That doesn't mean that I don't feel sad or I don't feel angry. Oh my gosh, I still run the full gamut of emotions, but they don't feel like they're overwhelming or out of my control, or I will get swept off in the tide with them. Um, so that has been a really big help for me as I focus on my mental health. I have tried to get off medication for a while with the full support of my therapist, and we decided that it was better for me to stay on them. And there is nothing wrong with that. Like, it's maintenance at this point. So, yeah, so I chose the Six of Cups for this. When I delved into the meaning of the Six of Cups as well, I see the synergy of somehow medication helps me be in the frame of mind where I can heal my inner child. A lot of my anxiety, a lot of my behaviors associated with that are a result of trauma in my childhood. And I feel like medication doesn't shut off the inner child, not at all, but I feel like it helps me as an adult function well enough so that I can reach into my inner child and say, hey, I've got you. You're fine. You're welcome here. I know you're scared. I'll be with you. So that's kind of what it does for me. And I did pull some tarot cards around this significator. So I'll just move this to the side and show the rest of the cards. So with medication, there's really only one thing to do there, and that's to take it. So I didn't pull cards around like, what do I need to do with my medication? I just pulled around how being on my medication helps me process, how it helps me feel. And I have the Queen of Cups, the Knight of Swords, the Magician, and actually, let me pull this out a little bit more. There's one more card. And the Judgment card. So how does this all relate for me? When I'm on my medication, I feel so much more in control of my emotions. Very Queen of Cups vibes. I can offer support to people and also support myself. Whereas off of medication, I tend to feel that my only role is to support people and not support myself. So I can get into martyr mode. I can do a lot of things that are just not emotionally healthy for me. Also, medication helps me feel like this Knight of Swords, where knights are always for me on a quest. They have a purpose, and they're also defending something, protecting something. And for me, the Knight of Swords archetype comes up when I protect my inner child. So it's really beautiful. It's like a very focused energy that's like, nope, you cannot pass. Um, Also, when I'm on medication, I feel very much in touch with my personal power, my personal agency. Again, this is not to say that I don't have to make hard decisions or that somehow decisions have suddenly become easy for me. Not at all. But let me put it this way, it's been about a year since I've had a full on panic attack, and I used to have them on the weekly. So it's just a gift to be able to tap into the personal power that was always there, but was overshadowed by trauma and trauma responses. And then finally, when I'm on medication, I can accept that certain things are not my fault. Judgment card. For me, the Judgment card is always about forgiveness. It's kind of like a baptism of sorts where you go under the water and you leave all that shit behind and you come back out and you're like you're free of burdens that you've put on yourself, that other people have put on you. And I love this depiction of the Judgment card as this beautiful naked figure, sort of rising out from this pink smoke. And that's what it feels like. I can actually look at a situation, assign accountability if there's accountability to be assigned to me. But I can also say, hey, this isn't my burden to carry. And that's a big deal. And all in all, it just helps me function. So that is my read for medication, which I chose the Six of Cups for. And then let me go to the next area. So the next area here is socialization. And I talked about this with my therapist because socialization and alone time, I use them in different ways. And both are good coping mechanisms. It depends really on how you use them. Do you use them to distract you and so you can re-energize, recharge, and come back to this problem and address it? Or do you use them to just escape? And escape for a while is also a valid form of coping, but you have to come back and address something. Or at least I do. I'm not saying everybody does. So the card that I picked for socialization is the Ace of Cups. And this is interesting because I could have chosen the Three of Cups. That visual had a lot of people in it. I chose this card and it doesn't have a lot of people in it. And I'm just kind of like, okay, why the Ace of Cups for socialization? Because this is how it feels when I'm with my chosen family, the family of my heart, which is also my biological family, mind you. But when I'm with people that I love and care for, and I get that give and take of energy, this is how I feel. I feel so at peace. I feel well loved. I feel like I am safe, like I can rest. And this Ace of Cups to me is just this perfect moment of peacefulness where you overflow with love and you receive love as well. So that's why I chose this kind of visual of an overflowing cup and everything else that goes with that. So I will show you the cards that I pulled from the tarot to represent the Ace of Cups. So we have the Empress, we have the Eight of Cups, and we have the Two of Cups. And there's one more card, but I want to talk about these for now. These three cards I pulled with a question or a thought of what does being around the people that I love and trust and that feel like home and safety to me, what does that do for me? So the Empress, I feel very much in my power. I feel like I am part of something and I give back to something, and people value me for whatever I can give, and not just for what I can give, but also for who I am and how I show up for them. Also, being with people that feel like home to me helps me to walk away from certain situations. Excuse me. Now, let me explain that. Sometimes they can be bad situations that, I don't have I'm so deep in it that I can't see a way out of it. Or sometimes I lose myself. Sometimes I lose my self confidence. And being around the people that feel like home to me, it's just so nourishing in the sense of it gives me the confidence to find myself and then make the decision for myself to walk away from things that don't serve me or that are not good for me. Sorry, I've got like a frog in my throat. And also, we have the Two of Cups. So it's really cool that like a lot of cups are coming out in the socialization area. But the Two of Cups, right? The card of love. Like it's not just romantic love, but like for me, it's very much a void that has been within me for a while that can only be healed through relationships. And there's many different types of relationships. So this could be romantic, but I tend to think of this more as the community that I've built that feels like home. And then I did ask myself, when I am not socializing, and I know I need to be, I know I need to be around people, but I choose to cope with doing alone time instead when it it isn't maybe the best thing for me at that time. What does that feel like? And that's the King of Pentacles, and I'm reading it as the King of Pentacles in reverse. It feels like when I know I need people and I stay away from them, it feels like I'm lying to myself that I've got this. I don't got this. It feels like I am trying to be an island, and that's just not how I'm built. Like, some people are more independent and more, they want to process things on their own, and it actually helps them a lot more to spend time by themselves. And I think, again, everybody needs their own balance of alone time and socialization. But for me, I know I tend to hermit when I am super stressed. And sometimes it's not always good for me because I just overthink and I cycle through my intrusive thoughts and the story goes around and around in my head and it's just a carousel. So that's what the King of Pentacles reverse energy represents to me. So that is socialization. Let me pull these out. And finally, for this video for today, we have alone time. So for this part, I chose, or area, I chose the Two of Swords. Why the Two of Swords? Um, well, first of all, the visual imagery. It's beautiful. She's in this gorgeous room. She is by herself, but there seems to be, like, her legs are swords. She seems to be moving. It's like almost like she's pacing around in the room. And this is kind of how I see my alone time. Like, it's a lot of frenetic energy in my head. It's a lot of going over things, pacing through them, reevaluating, and all of that. And there is a time and a place for this. And I really like that it doesn't feel too, like, the imagery isn't sad or isn't painful. It's just restless. So I feel that very much. And I did choose a couple of cards from the tarot for this. So with regards to the Two of Swords, I did ask myself, when do I need to sorry, with regards to alone time, when do I need to not be alone? The House of God or the Tower. When things turn to shit and they're sudden and I didn't see them coming, I don't need to be alone. I need to be with people. I can't get through that by myself alone. Well, I can, but it would be better if I got through it with people. So that's one. And then I asked, when should I use alone time as a coping mechanism? And we have the Lovers. And to me, this is a card of choice and choosing how to love, who to love, whether that's yourself, whether that's someone else. Um, when I have to make big decisions, that's when I need my alone time, because I need to be able to find my own voice and hear my own voice without, you know, the layers of other people's opinions over me. So that is when I need to have my alone time. And then I ask, how can I use alone time? How can I practice alone time in a way that's beneficial to me? And we have the Queen of Swords. So the woman of logic, right? Like, to me, this is a message of establishing boundaries. Like, I love socializing. I love hearing other people's advice. I ask for it all the time. But the Queen of Swords knows to have a boundary. Sorry, this cough is just like, sorry about that. But she knows when to have a boundary. She knows when to come close, when to pull away. And she knows when she's gotten enough advice and she needs to take a bird's eye view and she needs to go off by herself and just be like, evaluate the options. So that is how I can see myself nurturing my alone time in a healthy way. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope to do one more video tomorrow to round out the 9 areas. And that will be mental stimulation, intellectual pursuits, time with my cat, which is one area by itself, and then time in nature and in the outdoors. So yeah, again, thank you so much for joining me. And if you ever do a VR to this, please tag me. I'd love to see it. Okay,